You're not, well, Eskom's not part of your fold, but do you look at this, obviously very important for your members, that at least the lights are on as well?
Well, it certainly is very important for our members. It's very important for the economy. So we would certainly hope that the industrial action currently taking place within the metals and engineering sector, including that affecting Eskom, would be resolved as a matter of urgency.
Okay, let's look at the broad strike. What has the tone of the strike been? Because we spoke to Numsa yesterday, they denied that workers tried to storm your offices, but there were some reports yesterday of vandalism. What have you seen and heard?
Well, I received from COSATU General Secretary Zwelinzima Vavi and the President of Numsa the memorandum. It was handed over to me. We spent quite some time with them, so there was no incident outside of our offices in downtown Johannesburg. But I must tell you that we're very, very worried about what happened today at various workplaces. We've had a number of our members indicating that there were acts of vandalism. People have broken down gates, they've walked into factory floors and have taken things, including tools, away. So we have a growing number of such instances reported to us, and we're very concerned. And of course, we have each one of them reported to the police, and we're hoping that action will be taken.
You've raised concern today about the economic damage, about the 300 million. From your part, from the employer's part, did you do everything you could to prevent this strike? Was there movement on wage offers at least?
Well, we most certainly did everything that we could have done. We said from the beginning, when negotiations started just over 3 months ago, that we wanted to ensure that everything possible is done to avoid a strike in this round of wage negotiations. And so when we eventually tabled an offer, it was tabled on a day when the consumer price index was 6.1%, and that's what we offered, which was inflation related. And the unions, Numsa and 4 of the 6 unions, came in with a 15% demand as per the mandate given to them by their members. Over time, they had to consolidate the union demands, and instead of moving downwards, they moved upwards. They moved from 15% to 20% and stayed there for a long time. We eventually moved to what we consider is a proper settlement zone, 7% for higher earning artisans and 8% for lower earning workers, at a time when the consumer price index is at 6.6%.
Can I ask you, is it fair though, because it's 6.6%, but we know that lower earning workers feel inflation much more. They have a different inflation rate. We know that costs are going up across our economy. So you're sticking very close to inflation, but there is this argument that it should be higher.
Well, the context is the following. Our economy has been bleeding badly. South Africa is not an island. We coexist with many other countries around the world. We have a flood of imports into our economy, and the things that are brought here that we manufacture are sold at a price cheaper than we can sell them for. So our economy has not been doing well. Manufacturing in South Africa has not been doing well, and the metals and engineering sector since the recession globally in 2008 has not recovered. So we have been shedding jobs. We have companies right now that are in fact considering downsizing even before the negotiations began. Our economy in the first 3 months of 2014 shrunk by 0.6%. We have been, as a country, downgraded by Standards & Poor's from BBB to BBB minus, which is just a notch above junk status, and by Fitch from an economic outlook of positive to negative. That is the context. We don't negotiate wages in a void. You've got to take all of that context into consideration. And so that's what informing our approach.
And I'm sure you're worried about productivity as well. That's always raised. You know, people have to earn what they get. But is there room for creativity? Were you and the other employers' bodies, NIASA, looking for ways to motivate workers and tie productivity, maybe give them more, but you get that as well? Well,
there certainly is room for productivity. And we came to the negotiations with a whole host of proposals. Regrettably, so far, we've not been able to find one another between ourselves and Labour.
Tell me what's happening now, because there's a meeting with the Labour Minister tomorrow, I understand. Is that the only negotiations going on, or are there other attempts to get the parties
We remain
together?
committed to doing everything possible to resolve the strike. So we are available to engage with all stakeholders, the different unions included. I met the General Secretary of Solidarity on Monday, and on Monday we had a meeting of our council. It's made up of the chairpersons of our respective employer associations. After that meeting, we then met with the Minister of Labour, She met with us and met with Numsa and met with the two delegations. There isn't a meeting scheduled with the minister tomorrow. There is likely to be one on Friday. But what we do have as SEIFA tomorrow is a meeting of our council yet again to look at whether or not there is a possibility for some movement to help ensure that we reach a settlement. After that meeting, we have a meeting in the evening with the leadership of Numsa, where we will be able to indicate where we then stand. We would certainly hope that they too will have made some movement from where they stand now at 12%, so that we are able to find each other.
Okay, so hopefully something happens tomorrow. Do you believe, like many have predicted, this could be a short-term strike? If not, I want to ask you, how will we start feeling it, presumably in exports? And I think because these are consumer-facing companies, a lot of people don't know what we're talking about when we talk about steel and engineering. What's being made? What's being exported? How will this affect us?
We certainly do hope that it will be possible in the course of the week to conclude a deal that returns employees to their workplaces, because the metals and engineering sector needs that, the manufacturing sector in the country needs that, but more importantly, our country requires that. A prolonged strike would wreak much more damage on the economy than we need. We might then have a second term in which we have a negative growth, and then we'll find ourselves as a country in a recessionary situation. So we would certainly hope that it is possible to reach an agreement. Now, the metals and engineering sector is a very strategic one. It is a supplier on the downstream side to the mining sector. It is a supplier on the upstream side to the auto manufacturing industry, as well as to the construction industries. So it means that the platinum sector has just come out of a strike. It has affected us because it meant that our products that we sell to the mining companies were not being sold because there was not work happening there. But it also means that when there is work happening in the mining sector, we might not be able in the next few days to supply the products that we need to supply. The same vehicle manufacturing in this country might also grind to a halt. And I've had, in fact, a CEO of a major multinational company resident here that has said he is under considerable pressure from his head office to relocate from South Africa because we are strike-prone as a country. So our country is not painted in a good way. We are then abroad seen as an investment destination that is not investment-friendly, that is characterized by strikes at all times.
All right, so a very worrying situation. Thank you very much for your time this evening. That was the CEO of the Steel and Engineering Industries Federation of South Africa, Kaizer Nyatsumba.